Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Customize Your Success Summit. I am so excited to have with us today Dr. Debbie Heiser. Debbie holds a degree in Applied Developmental Psychology with a specialty in redefining what being older looks and feels like. She's a Tedx speaker and was my Tedx coach, so I was very blessed. A 92nd Street Y speaker. She's a member of Marshall Goldsmith's 100 Coaches and Thinkers 50, and she's an adjunct professor at SUNY Old Westbury. She's also an award-winning researcher, consultant, and coach, and, as if that wasn't already enough, the founder of the Mentor Project, where we, because I'm a mentor with the Mentor Project too, we bring top experts in STEAM, business, and law, all the way from astronauts to astrophysicists, IP lawyers, the 2020 Silicon Inventor of the Year. We bring all of these amazing people to mentor kids around the world for free. You can find us in schools, communities, and online. So with all of that said, I want to turn it over to Debbie and hear from you, Debbie. Just thank you so much first for being with us. This is amazing.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I'm excited to be working on your project. This is exciting.
I know, it's reciprocal. This is really awesome. And I'm just excited to hear your story because I've heard some parts and pieces of it. And I'd love for you to share with our audience, for you, when you were growing up, what was that definition of success that you were taught?
I'll be quite honest with you. I really wasn't taught a definition of success. I thought that success was sort of out of my control. And it was something that I was going to have to get from someone, like marry someone, or that it would be given to me somehow, but that it wasn't something that I had the ability to get on my own. And I don't know if other people have had that as kids, but that was what I was brought up with.
You know, I bet a lot of us were, not that we were taught that, but that we somehow had that imprinted on us as we were growing up. We just sort of assumed that it was outside of us. So what does success mean to you now? Because you've had quite a journey, and obviously your definition has evolved from what it was before when you were younger.
It was a process, and I'll tell you, it was a good process. I think that success is something that comes with feeling that you have a sense of control over the idea that you have and the dream. So the idea is that, you know, there isn't a dream out there. There's a whole process. There's A to Z. And so for me, success is having an idea and getting excited about doing A through Z to get to Z, that there's a whole part of it. It's not just the dream. And that is where it changed. That evolved over time when I started to see that we can have control over our own lives and our own successes, and we get to pick and choose them. It was really an amazing feeling to have that. And I thrive on that now. I get so excited every time there's something new that comes up that I can have success in. It feels like everything's possible.
Yeah, and I love that you brought that up, that it's not the destination. It's all the things along the way that get you there, because there are many successes. And sometimes those are the big success when that's not even what you set out to do. It's the process. So for you, along your journey to where you are now, what led you to make that shift? Is there anything that stands out to you?
You know, one thing that stands out is that it's actually been a process of success building on success. It's not a bunch of one-offs that ever happened. And so my very first, the very first thing was when I decided I wanted to go into aging. When my grandmother got sick, I felt helpless. And someone said, well, hey, you know, there are people who can help fix people who are depressed. And psychologists do that. You can do that. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. And I knew that there was a process involved in that. That was pretty lofty from my point of view to try to become a psychologist, to help older adults. But I knew that there were steps that I could take. And that was the first thing I did. And everything after that has been built on that one success that I made. And I'd say that was my big pivot. I was kind of lost before that.
So when you say you were lost before that, can you expound upon that? Because I think some of us Some of us might still feel lost and not realize that there is an opportunity for us to make a shift and a pivot.
I was working to work, and I went to school to go to school. I didn't know that you could have a bigger sense or purpose than, doing the things that we're supposed to check the boxes for, like you get a house, you buy a car, you get married. I thought that those were our successes and end goals, and those are fulfilling, but I wanted more. And it wasn't until I found something that was just for me that I could do that was where I felt lost before. And then I felt found.
Yeah. And did you have a calling in your heart at some point where you went, yeah, there is more here for me? And if you did, what do you think would have happened if you had not answered that call?
When I finally said, hey, I want to go on to get a PhD, which, to be quite honest with you, that was crazy talk. Like that was not in my cards. That truly was never there. So it was as though, that was really there as a big deal. That was something that was huge. That was the big pivot. That was the big moment. That was where I really said to myself, I can be a different person. I can be the person I want to be, and I can make me who I want to be. That was really where it sort of changed and pivoted. And I never looked back ever after that. It really was from that moment on, a decision that I could keep on going forward.
That's awesome. Just the commitment to say, nope, this is what I'm doing. This is who I get to become. And that's aligned with what you wanted to bring to the world, obviously, because that plays out in all of the things that you do. So along your journey, then, you said you never looked back. Was there ever a time where you questioned anything about the journey, like how much commitment it took, what you had to do? And if so, what got you back on track?
I will say I question things all the time. I still do. But I also know that I can work as hard as I want to work. It's not like, I've learned over the years, it's not who's the smartest, it's who's going to work hardest. And I can work hard. And it's fun to work hard when you're working on something for yourself. And when it's something that you feel, will have a legacy, or that will live beyond you, or that will have some kind of bigger purpose. And so that's really why I've never looked back, because there's always something more that I can do.
Yeah, I hope people will take that away too, because I'd love to just foot stomp what you just said, because we get confused and think, oh, well, hard work, I got to work hard. It always has to be hard. Hard is relative, because when you're giving everything you have to something that you're passionate about, that's aligned authentically with who you are and what you want to bring to the world, you might be doing more than the person over here who's saying, my life sucks because I work so hard. But you're loving it. You love what you're doing, and it brings you energy and fuels you to move forward.
Exactly. It's not cleaning my house working hard.
Yeah, right.
It is. And that's the difference. That I worked hard before at my job and put into it, but I never came home feeling fulfilled. I will work 24/7 at what I'm doing. I can go without sleep and I don't lose energy. That's the difference between work hard that I'm talking about. If I'm stuffing envelopes, I'm going to get tired. If I'm cleaning, or doing work in that way, I'm going to get tired, because then it's like Sisyphus, climbing up and going right back down again. Yep. And that never happens when it's a passion project that you feel really amazing about. And that's the big difference. I get even excited just talking about it, because I
can hear it in your voice.
I can get out and work some more. It's fun.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So, and I think that probably leads into this next question though, too, is for people that have that calling on their heart and they want to customize their own future, their own success. What do you think is the most important thing for them to focus on?
They should focus on every step along the way, that it isn't the dream. There are so many people that say, I'd like to be an artist, but they don't put in the steps to becoming the artist. Mm-hmm. If there's a dream or goal that you have, that's important to have that. But it is equally important that you have every step mapped out along the way. And that each one of those little milestones is something that you give yourself credit for, because that fuels the next step. So when you get to A, give yourself a big hooray. When you get to B, C through Z, do the same. And it just makes it a pure joy. So no passion or no dream is too small or too large. It's the same exact strategy for all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that reverse engineering, right? You know what your goal is, what your big dream is, but you don't just get to sit on the couch and wish for it to show up. That's not how the law of attraction works, right?
Exactly.
You have these small steps that you take. And just like you said, when we're celebrating each of those little milestones, yes, it feels good, but it's actually programming our brain to want more of that, right? That's why kids are addicted to video games now, because they get that little bit of a drip of, oh, I did good, I got the next level, and you want to get to the next one, right? And so that same thing happens with us. We play that out in our lives if we're doing it well, and we celebrate each of those milestones.
And hopefully with other people, because when you're working on a goal, there's never once been one single goal, including going to graduate school, that I felt I didn't engage with everybody around me as though it was a group effort to do something. And I think that the more people that you can involve in things without saying, oh, I don't want to burden somebody, or, oh, I don't want to tell people. No, holler from the mountaintops and gather all the people you can to get involved and to get excited with you along the way. It'll really continue to fuel you.
Absolutely. Because how do you feel when someone asks you for help? You want to help them.
Exactly.
Right. And so we get to give others the opportunity to help us, and collectively we all rise.
Exactly.
So good. Well, thank you, Debbie. You are consummate at that, honestly, bringing people together who can elevate each other. That is one of the beauties of the Mentor Project is, yes, we are out there mentoring young kids. We're also mentoring each other inside of our community and sharing our expertise and sharing our knowledge and network and elevating every person. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for creating that opportunity. And for bringing me into that as well, because I've just loved it. And thank you so much for what you're doing for humanity, really.
Right back at you. And you know what? I'm so excited to now be on your journey and cheering you along the way. Every step you take is an absolute joy for me to watch.
Thank you so much. I love it. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into this discussion with Debbie Heiser, and hope you have an amazing day. We'll see you later.